this computer. All right, so I know during our last conversation we were talking about leap options. Is it sharing my screen? Yeah. And we had gotten through what the opening transaction looks like, and as it starts to play out. So I've had a conversation about break even with a couple of people. Break even is your strike price the strike price you select and the cost of the option. Okay, you will always be able to look at an option, look at your strike price, and determine what your intrinsic value is.
Correct. So can you go through an example? So a simple way I internalize it is that,
Yeah,
hey, you may,
absolutely,
let's say,
absolutely.
you pay 10,000, right? You pay 10,000 for a lead call after 10 months or after 12 months. And every month you make $1,000, right? 10%. So then after 10 months, you're kind of free money then, right? So because you got the question I have is that, okay, so that's the ideal case. Now, if the leap depreciates in a rapid way, at some level, it will make it the pendulum, or what is that called? The scale would always be negative. So you're always losing money, right? So that means you have to pull out, right? Is that a situation?
Yeah, sure. Let me let's run like a live trade with not any ticker symbols, but like with a an actual strike price and an actual cost, so that we can see what happens at the end of the transaction. So
Correct. Even we can do like a service now. I mean, that is the thing I have is that somehow, if I feel it is in a downtrend, but the premiums are so good, but I'm in that sort of conflict. But I'm not sure if the depreciation of leap is going to offset.
yeah, no, let me I totally get that. And this is why, to mitigate some of that risk, this is why you buy deep in the money call options versus out of the money call options.
Correct.
Out of the money call options have a much worse delta rating. They tend to be, whereas you're buying an 80 delta when you go in the money, you're going to be buying like maybe a 20 delta if you go out of the money. So there's a lower possibility of success. But
Correct.
with that lower possibility of success, it's also cheaper. So that is literally what your money is buying. You're buying the intrinsic value. So let me show you.
So if you can take like a Tesla thing, right? So let's say, again, it depends. Don't you think it has an underlying assumption? So Tesla came from 450 to now 350, right? So let's
Yeah.
say if you bought a lip, I think I bought a lip at when it was 430 with a lip of 400,
Okay.
right?
Great example. Let's do that one. Let's do that one.
Mhm.
What was your strike?
So I think I bought it at let's do this, keep it simple. At 430, I bought
Whatever your
400
strike
strike.
is. What's 400 strike and the share price
Yeah,
was
with the $80.
30.
Yeah, that was expensive,
And
like $80.
and then how much was your cost?
80. I think so, 80.
8,000?
80, yeah, that was expensive. Yeah,
Okay.
Tesla.
So, but I do like how you did that, because you should always do this so that you understand you're talking about per share, and a lot of these things will come up per share. That's really, can you see my screen? Am I
Yeah, I
sharing
can.
those things? Okay,
Yes,
good.
you are.
Okay. Let me just make this smaller, because now when my camera's up, I can't see my own. Here we go. Okay, so now for this option, you paid for an in the money call option when you bought this. Was this an 80 delta call option when you bought it?
Yeah, I mean, let me check quickly. Stay in, yeah, just give me one sec. Let's see.
I'm just opening up my, my account. I want to see what Tesla's current price is at.
Oh, today was bad. I
Yeah, I
it's
saw
like
that.
all
I
my
saw
leaps
that.
are like.
I was just
I know
listening.
yeah, I saw your comment. You have put a positive spin, but man, it hurts.
You have to take all these things into context. And I mean, I literally proved what happened today. The options expire today, right? And
Right. So
if you bought an 80 delta option, I'll talk through two different options that are expiring today so that you see how this plays out
right.
from
So
like the backside of it. Um,
so so Jason, I just checked my Tesla
oh yeah.
option. I have 400. Actually, it was $62. So 60, you can say 60 bucks.
Oh, it was $6,000.
Yeah, 60. 60 per option. So I got four of them. Yeah, so 25K.
So you got four of these,
Six of this. Yeah, four of this. Yeah, four
but
of
the
this. You're
cost
correct.
was
And
the
60.
cost was 6,000.
60. Correct. So
Yeah,
60
and
bucks.
then that was the cost of the option then, or that's the value of it now?
Right. So
No,
actually, okay, let me put it back. When the stock, I first bought one or two options probably for 16,000, and then once it started dropping, I added more. So the average down cost becomes from 80 to I think 50, then it becomes 60 bucks now.
okay, that's perfect. So this is 60 then, right? And have you sold any covered calls on these?
Yes, I've been selling covered calls.
What's your current covered call? Like you say
So
you've been selling them, but like what's the one that you have right now that's next up to
so
expire?
today, here today I let me check which sell today. See, because the market was down, so it was so down. So I said that I'll buy it on Monday when the market is, and that's something maybe you. Maybe I can get.
Yeah.
I know you said that you always should have instead of waiting for the market to go up to buy a call. But I thought, man, market is like way down. The covered call premium is not going to be that good.
Yeah, it fluctuates as the share price fluctuates.
Right.
So as a thing gets lower in value, its premium value will transition.
Right.
Well, it follows. That's why when your share price hits your strike on a covered call, you should roll it then because the option chain in the future has also moved. There's new intrinsic value to that share price. So the strikes
So,
will roll.
so you can say that I am making. So Schwab is like difficult to see what is the buy price and all that stuff. Okay, so let me check.
Yeah, you
So
would
you
have
can let's make a safe assumption. Let's make an assumption that okay, it's 10%. Okay. So right now, let's say I have sold. So right now, what is the thing? It's now the leap is uh around 37 bucks now. Okay. So let's say make it 35
oh
bucks. So
wow.
keep it simple.
Yeah.
So that means I have sold, let's say 3,000 worth of 10%. Let's say 10%. Let's say
You
today I sold
buy the leap for
10,000.
3,500
Yeah.
now. Mm-hmm.
So let's say 10% is 3,000, right? Or 3,500. Okay, yeah, 3,500.
Yeah, and if you paid this price, right, and you went in and sold call options on Tesla.
Wait. 30, not 30. Right now, 25,000 is my total leap option worth. Let's assume I made 10% gain of selling covered calls. So that is 2,500. So that
Okay,
means,
right.
so that means $6, I think, right? Four
Right.
times $6. So 2,500.
4 times 6.
Yeah. So that's 2,400. So let's say I sold and made 2,400 or 2,500 selling covered call today.
Yeah, okay. Today, let's say you did it today.
Mhm.
Okay, so what does this do? It lowers your break even. If your cost of your option is $60 and your strike price is 400, then your break even is 460. Okay? But by
Oh, okay.
selling this,
So now, okay, I
because
see.
remember, this is also divided by 100. because it now becomes per share. So now you
Right.
just take this number, because this is a dollar sign. You take this number and you subtract it from your break even,
Which
right?
is 60, right?
Which is your break even is 460, and then you subtract 625 from it. So your break even is now what, 458, 457, 75,
Mhm.
right? 0, 457. No,
I see.
450. No, wait. I'm sorry. It's been a long day.
Jason, I'm not understanding this 625.
This is what you got paid for your options when you sold that covered call.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it.
Yeah.
So 4 times 625 is okay, 2500. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the first thing is obviously this option's underwater a little bit. But you remember you can still sell a covered call. I mean, all the way down to 400, Ben, before you have to start posting collateral. But I mean, I wouldn't post collateral on a trade like this. I would assume you could still get some kind of premium received for, even if you sold a 430. I mean, let me look right now. I'm just curious.
Right.
I'm just curious what it would be, like how far out you'd have to go. So when does this
I guess
expire?
it's September.
Oh, this is the September 19th covered
Yeah.
call? Okay, watch this. 25. Okay.
So I have another 7 or 8 if I sell once a month.
Say that one more time.
So, so right now you suggested to do 21 days covered call, right? 21 days expiration.
Well,
So that
yeah,
means
that's when you first buy it. That's looking at some of the extrinsic value in the option and
right.
selling a little bit of it back. And the reason I say to do that is because when you buy something, you've incurred a cost. And personally speaking, I like to mitigate some of that cost by immediately then selling it. And what it does is it does this equation for you right off the bat. Okay. So like if Monday came and you've already done this equation one time, you could potentially look at selling another time transaction on Tesla where, like, let's say you sell, I'm just looking at the options chain to provide an example, okay? Let's say you sell a 440 covered call for April 17th, right?
Mhm.
Let's say you do this transaction right here for
Mhm.
April 17th, and it nets you $435.
Mhm.
Now remember, this is per share, so that comes out to $4.35. So
Mhm.
now again, you take your new cost basis there at 453 75, and you subtract 435 from it to get your new break even. Let me go back to my calculator. 453
Let me close the window. Sun is coming.
75 minus 435. Forgot decimals. Your new break even is 449.40. So if you look at it, Ben,
Mhm.
I mean, you continue to drive down your cost, right? This is this 435 received, you basically subtract it out of your cost, and now your new cost becomes $5,400. And that's represented here, how your cost base is shifting down.
Right. So that means, let's say, because if I'm selling every month one covered call, so that means till the expiration time, I have 7 or 8 opportunities, right? So in 7 or 8
That's
covered
it.
call, I have to make up my principal,
Cost.
right?
At least. At
Right.
least, yeah, because look, this is April 17th. I do want to delete an idea from your head. When we do the principal transaction, I think I aim for 10%, and I do notice that is about 3 weeks out when I look at the option chain. But, when you get into the later transactions, you don't necessarily need to aim for a month out. You need to be looking at the premium that you're going to receive and how close it is to your break even, because by keeping it up there, you can actually retain equity in the position if the share price was to suddenly turn around on you. If Tesla went from right now, it's like 3 something.
Correct.
If Tesla suddenly went from 337 to 450, you can just roll that position out, right? Because you're
Right.
back a month,
Correct.
and that allows the leap option to recover its principal value, that intrinsic value. Really, what you're trying to do is you're trying to do 2 things at the same time. And you have to understand that you're kind of on a journey to do this thing, because right now you can do these transactions. You're going to sell another month out, and then you could see April, May, June, July, August, September. You have 5 more transactions possible, right? But that doesn't mean you necessarily have to sell 5 transactions. You might be able to eat that up with 2, but you want to make sure that you're not selling too low of a strike against your strike.
Right.
Like, you don't want to start selling a 400 strike. You'd rather give
Right.
up.
So yeah, right.
You'd
So let's
rather give
unpack
up.
that.
Yeah, you'd rather give up some time value to kind of allow for that leap to come back into its intrinsic value without you giving it up.
Right. So let's say right now, okay, I think this is what I'm doing, because right now, let's say my leap is at 400. Now Tesla is at 330 or 340. Okay.
You're
So to
selling like
make 10%, right? I have to sell a covered call, which is below my leap. So which is like 380 or something, and that should be fine. I mean, okay, so why? Because Tesla is not going to go to 380 in 3 weeks.
Don't do that. Don't do that. And I'll tell you why. I don't know if you noticed it in your portfolio, but when you do that, you have to post collateral.
Oh,
And that collateral, because you are now selling underneath your strike, you need to come up with that cash. So
so the brokerage will force me to other day. Okay, I see.
Yeah, so if you go and look at your buying power, you'll see that you have collateral being held against you. And it's
Right. I think that's what is happening. Okay. So if I do
how
that
many
below
did
the
you
leap,
sell?
that okay.
How many did you sell like that?
No, I think that's what I was not understanding. Okay, so let me share with you. I think
Yeah.
for one of the stocks, AMD, I think it has happened. And I have buying power, but Schwab is not
There's
allowing me to buy. And maybe
the
that is because it is held in collateral.
The strategy when you have these big drops would be,
Right.
especially for me, what I tend to do when I have these big drops and when I have cash is I either buy a new leap with a new expiration and a new strike that is past my a current position that is still cash flowing. Like, especially like when you haven't even gotten to the strike yet. Like, I saw today that MSTR is at 303, and my MSTR is my MSTR covered call that I'm selling is for like 370, but it's for April. So like, that's giving me a lot of equity in that position. And that's the one I was telling you about. It's like that position's almost cut in half. It's almost worth like 8,000 now. Like, my indicator is telling me that is a buy to me because of the ROI return in the first transaction is like 18% or something. But I also have to buy Palantir, and now that's suddenly cheap. So when you see these red days, truly, like, you can, now any asset that you buy is just another cash flowing asset, and you got it cheaper. Anytime you could buy a new strike that's lower, like, that's a good thing. Like, that means you can build
Right.
equity faster.
So let's Right, right. So the main thing is that as the stock price is dropping, you have to keep adding to your leaps, because otherwise your strike price, if then the leap value is still kind of remaining high if you don't buy, because you're not averaging down. And then what happens is that to make 10% on covered call, let's say, so going back to your example, let me ask you this. So if your MSTR is at 300, and let's say for the reason you described, you are selling a covered call, 3 weeks out covered call at 370, I don't think you can make 10% premium, correct?
You want to see? Okay, I'll show
Yeah.
you. I'll show you. Okay, so remember, it's about the numbers. It's not about the ticker symbol. Okay, so this is a 300 covered. This is a 300 strike on MSTR. It expires in September. It now costs
Mhm.
$7,758. Okay.
Mhm. So I
That
also have MSTR. Let me see.
okay, and
Uh-huh.
this thing cost me. I think this is like, you have to like just see this, man. I'm telling you, this is wild. Expires. Because this gives you how much transaction time you have left, right? And just always think
Right.
about it in months. And this is about 8 months away. So we could do 8 transactions on this, okay? Think about it like that. 8 transactions.
Wait. Yeah, 8 transaction. Okay. Yeah. Huh?
Right.
And
16,000.
then it's around 7,700 is your leaf cost, right?
That's its current value.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That's current value. So let's take my example. So I have bought leap when it was 100. Okay. So I'm 20% down now on leap. Okay. And I'm making 10%. So I'm I'm also got 300 leap at $100 at September, and I'm making 10% on covered call at 355. So I guess MSTR probably is not the right example, is because
No, listen, watch. Okay. This is what I have, right? And this is what it costs. And this is currently what it's valued at. And right now I've sold a 370 strike on this position for 1256. But if I buy right now at today's price, right? And I still receive at today's price. Go ahead and tell me what it is. Surprise me. Do that for me. Divide 1255 by 775.
yeah, it's around 16%, 16 to 18%, I think.
I'm gonna do it because I like to be
It's
exact.
like no, it's
12
written 15 to
divided by 7,758.
no. Okay, maybe I'm getting it wrong. Yeah,
16.3%. So I mean,
right.
if I'm gonna spend money and I'm looking at all of my portfolio for where to spend money, what I do is I literally just walk through this formula with every single garden that I have, and I just, whoever has the best ROI on that transaction that I'm looking at right now is going to get that cheddar.
Okay.
And I can do this 8 more times, right? So what's 8? Because each time you do this times 8.
So let me ask you how. Oh, so this is April. Okay.
Look, you could do it 8 more times. That comes out to 130% return. So you've moved your money out of that position plus 30%. And that doesn't necessarily mean the intrinsic value is gone out of the option. But if
So
you
let
could,
me ask you this: why not? Why did you do April? Why not March at 350?
what do you mean?
Now it is today. You sold April
No, 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 I
covered
didn't
call,
sell
right?
it today. I sold this a little while ago. I sold this, date sold 2/14. I sold it on Valentine's Day. 2/14. That's a good point.
So the maybe
So look,
how do I?
I gave up, I gave up a while, right? I gave up almost 2 months here. But Ben,
Correct.
gosh, where is it? Do I have it here? Oh yeah, I do. Oh no, I don't have it on this. Oh, you know what? It's on that spreadsheet. This is this transaction, Ben. This is this transaction. It was just that one is not recorded. That is number 5 right here. Right? I've already taken $8,000 off this. Look, you see right there,
Yeah,
7014.
yeah, I know, I have seen it. Yeah.
So 7014. So let's look at what my cost basis is on this, right? Because now we saw all those numbers. Is it on here? Yeah. So it was 7014 plus 1265. $7014 plus 1265. 8279. Right? And if you have 60,500 and they're divided by 100, that comes out to you're paying 165, right, per share. Okay, so your new cost basis is 165 minus 8279. Your new cost basis, Ben, right?
Oh, so you had.
And I can buy it back cheaper than that right now. I can buy it back for 7,000, I think it said. Yeah, 7,758. This thing's already made me 8 grand. It's already paid for the next one. You see that? I've received this much. I've received this much out of this, and it only cost 7,758. It's already paid for itself. I have to buy this next. Plus, I can do this in the first transaction. If I buy one right now at this price today,
I see.
and I get this much back, I bang off 16% in the first transaction. I could do that 8 more times for a total ROI of 130 on just the transactions. And it is conceivable that I have to give up more time than necessarily the first interaction, right?
Correct.
Like this one
So the
is
question, right. So the question I have for Jason, one is that, so like, how do you decide? Because I am just now selling only 3 weeks covered call. So I try to do 3
10%,
weeks out
man.
and then see which gives me 10%.
10%.
So like how,
Look at those strike prices. Look at the strike prices. Look for growth in your share price, right? Like if today's share price is 100, don't sell a 105 strike, right? Give the underlying asset some room to grow. And also be very aware of where your break even is going to be.
so let's say so your strike price, let's say when you're selling a covered call, again, let's cook some numbers. Okay, let's say I'm selling Tesla or something. Let's say my leap is at 100. Okay, and then my break even is, let's say, 120. So the covered call I'm selling, should it be always more than 120, or it doesn't matter?
It doesn't necessarily have to be more than 120, but it has to be more than your strike.
Okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I would never sell below 100. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have to pay
Well,
collateral, right? So that's
you've provided that example today.
yeah. I think my AMD, I think because I did not know that, and now I think that's why I had money left at the Schwab, but the Schwab is saying you cannot trade because
Yeah.
probably it is stuck with the collateral.
It's used
So
as
going back to this example, but
Mhm.
here I have a question. So you have said that this 16%, right?
Yeah.
Now, so the way I am doing it, let's say, because I have, let's take MSTR example, right? Because when I'm adding, let's say I have brought MSTR when it is $100, okay? So that means 10,000, okay? Now it is at 77. If I buy it, let's say then I've got I've got two option. One is at 77, one is 100. My average price is, going to be like 85 or something, right? 85 or 88 or something.
Right.
So I'm not going to make 16%, right? So because when I'm selling two covered calls, so because you cannot assume that, the 77.58, that number, because I have, that number is not going to be that, right? It will be higher because it is averaging out, right? So it will
Yeah.
be
Yeah. So look, if you liked this, whatever this is, right? This can be any company. If you liked this equation when you first saw it, and you thought like, yeah, let me hold that for a year. I go leaps when I first enter a leap, I try to go like 9 months to a year because it allows the market to do things, right? It allows the market to go up and down. And if you buy this, if I just bought this, right? This is your example. If I just bought this and I'm able to do 10% transaction the first time I buy it. And then your example is company A, it goes down, your value goes down to 7,700, right?
correct.
Let's say you're looking at this as if you have taken a loss. But the way I look at this is this is a discount of 23% to own the thing that you wanted to buy and hold on to it for a year to cash flow you. Right? So like in my example, MSTR at 16,500, I liked it at that price because of its cash flow value, and now the price is 7,758. Like I'm getting a massive discount.
Massive discount as long as you buy another lip, right? Is that correct?
I mean, that is my plan. Let me walk through. I have 2 options expiring today, and I want to show you what happens at the end of an option expiration. Because I have literally the example and I can tell you what's happening in my account right now because it says I have an account deficit, and I feel like that used to scare me before. So I am going to use their ticker symbols. No, I'm not going to use their ticker
Okay,
symbols.
so let me add one more question, and then you can describe with respect to the
Yeah, go ahead.
actual account situation. So what I internalize your advice. We should be always no cash left. Okay, so you should always fully invested. Okay, so now I have invested everything. Today market was down, going back to the lips. Now the question I have is that, because at the same time you are saying that, hey, if MicroStrategy comes down, then I should buy one more lip. So where the money is going to come from? Then money can only come from the selling the covered call, right? But then, buying leap is like expensive, like 10,000. Whereas so if I get it right, let's say I have 100,000 account, I have 10 stocks, each one is 10,000. Okay, I've got 10 lips, 10,000, and I sell covered calls. Now let's say one of the stocks has gone down, let's say from 10,000 to let's say 8,000. I want to buy leap. Now, where do the money come from? 8,000. This 8,000. That means
You got to let me
because
get
for
to my
every
example. I mean, this is the point of having multiple expiration dates
for
because
covered calls
for
or
leaps
lips.
because
Oh, okay. So
I have a leap expiring today. I have 10,000 in cash that's getting freed up. You know,
Oh,
in
okay.
January, I had my Tesla Leaps expire and I had $48,000 in cash free up. So what happens, Ben, is you get your income from
Mhm.
selling covered calls, which allows you to buy things. And then when an
Mhm.
option expires and it has intrinsic value, you know,
Mhm.
that is another big like safety deposit box that is unlocked at expiration. And so I have four contracts expiring today that is going to net me $10,000. And
Correct. Okay.
my next contract expiration is April, and then June, and then September, and
So every
January.
okay. So
So
that's the I see.
cash is always coming, Ben. Always coming in.
So that it will take me for a while now because I have just started doing this BMCC. So
Yeah.
all my money is now till September stuck,
Yeah,
right?
no, not at all. No, you're wrong. No, your money is being freed up every time you do a transaction, Ben. But what happens in September is you get a big chunk of money again, and then you start a new thing, right? So like this money that you make on selling the poor man's covered call on an asset, let's say any asset. Let's say it's company A here. This money should be doing the same thing with company B, company C, right? You should be building this position, the equity that you receive should be building another one and another one. And the only thing you're changing is strikes and expirations. And in your case specifically, you just started doing this. And the first thing you want to do, and I think a lot of people get this part wrong too, is you want to build those positions because two reasons. Volume is king, right? The bigger position that you have, the more volume that you're creating in your sales. And that pays you every time you do an expiration, that pays you. And then when you build a bigger position at expiration, you possibly have more intrinsic value locked up. So you will unlock a bigger pirate's chest at expiration. So
Mm.
it's twofold. And you both want to be buying into the same expiration, but you also want to be stepping into the future as well, right? Because what you want to do is when you get to this big cash deposit, you want to just move it down the line and buy more leaps. In April, I'm gonna have probably $30,000 from SoFi expirations that I'm literally just gonna turn around and buy more SoFi leaps at whatever the cost is in April. And my
Mm.
goal is to go from selling 135 leaps to 200 to 300. It's gonna take me, obviously it's gonna take me time to do that because each of those transactions is 10%. But they could be a month out, they could be, you saw that MSTR example is April 17th. That's 2 months away. So
Correct.
that guy's
So,
gonna
but still,
float
my
again.
but my question remains because you have started early, so you have something expiring on April, something April, March, May, June, July. So every day, every month, you're getting some cash out, and with that cash, you can buy more lips, right? For me now, does it make sense to be invested 100% because I have no money coming in till September? I mean, I'm making some money covered calls, but that usually is $1,000. Let's say 10%. Let's say assume $1,000, right? So now, but I have to buy a lip, I have to come up with $8,000, right? So that means if I for selling 10 covered calls or 8 covered calls, I can pay for one MSTR. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, let's look at this example though. And this is kind of important to see the math on this, right? So let's say you have an initial deployment. And I want to kind of keep this at just really easy numbers
Mhm.
because you
Yeah,
see
makes sense.
you see the growth. I'm a really terrible speller too.
That's
Uh,
fine. I understand.
say you
Yeah.
have an initial deployment of $10,000, right? And your
Mhm.
first transaction, you're able to do 10% and you net $10,000. This is money, Ben, and it should also be deployed, which should now make you an additional 10%, right? So
Mhm.
now now, like, let's say you can continue to do these transactions off of this one. And, you know, a month, you do a transaction that, you know, nets you another 10,000 and another 1,000. These are buying more things each time. So yes, you're selling 10,000 in the first one, but in reality, you're going to be close to selling 11,000 in
Mm,
the second month and 1,100 in the second month, right?
mm,
And so on and so on. So this number is going to grow transaction to transaction as well, because you're trying to push a 10% growth rate. That's
correct.
super important, so that when you get to that end of that trend, when you get to the end of your expiration, none of your $100,000 is still in there. It's all already out. But now what happens is, if you're near your break even from when you bought it, that $100,000 is still all yours. It has not changed in
Mm,
value at all, right? It really
correct.
depends on your strike.
I think, right, right. But what I'm trying to understand is that because you say that, okay, it doesn't matter what the underlying stock is doing as long as you are making that, 10%, that thing. But what I'm trying to say is that if the stock really keeps going down, I,
It does
don't you think?
matter. I don't think I ever said it doesn't matter what the underlying stock is doing. I think what I said was, the underlying stock could go up, it could go sideways, or it could go down, and you should look to generate revenue off of that movement. It is any of these shares can go to zero. And what the value of a leap is over the shares is, you actually have less exposure with leap coverage than you do with share coverage.
Right,
Because you put less money in to control more volume. So
correct.
think of it like that. Your volume, it's a volume
Right, right.
game
I
and
think, yeah. I mean,
your volume.
one thing maybe I'm thinking is, there are stocks like Tesla, ServiceNow, maybe now a little bit Palantir now. It's like which is kind of very volatile, rapidly going. And then there are other stocks like Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia. I think for Tesla type of stocks, I have to go more deeper into the money and then also further out,
I
right?
mean,
Because as Mhm.
I think I think Tesla is always been a very volatile stock. I think anytime you have a drop like it has dropped to right now, I think that is an opportune time to pick today's 80 delta. And, you know, I say let the cards play out. I would certainly consider, I mean, I just have too many things in front of Tesla to buy Tesla right now. But I mean, I would certainly consider buying like a summer of next year Tesla option at around, I would assume like a 310 or something would probably be an 80 delta. And, you know, I would let those transactions play out, because Tesla pays big premium. And
Right.
I will tell you from personal experience, I mean, I literally owe Elon Musk my entire account. I mean, I came back using 6 Tesla leaps. I brought my account all the way back, and
Oh.
if I could own Tesla right now, I would. My money is deployed in different
So would you mind sharing like what are the main holdings here other than Palantir, SoFi? What else you have?
say that one more time.
If you don't mind, would you mind sharing like what are the main stocks you
Yeah, of
have now
course.
other
No,
than
no, no, for
Palantir,
sure. No,
SoFi?
for sure. I have yeah, what do I have? Jesus. I mean, I know I have SoFi. I recognized with SoFi, I recognized the 10% formula, and the the value of volume. And, you know,
So
when
SoFi is working
February
out great, huh, for you? I mean, SoFi
February.
doesn't.
Oh, perfect, perfect. I mean,
Oh,
I have a $12 January of 27 SoFi, and it's 660. And I mean, I hope that by January of 2027, I'm selling like 1,000 contracts on SoFi. Like
wow.
you know what, that's 2 years away, and I can make a lot of money in 2 years, and I'll definitely pump money into SoFi. It's very cheap entry. The reason I like it is very cheap entry. And I mean, you can just add to the position. It's so easy, $400 to $600 to $800. It's not much to add to that position to get that volume up.
So here is my fear is, so there is this companies which that they're not going to tank like that, like Meta or Nvidia or Apple, but SoFi and like Robinhood and these companies, like one quarter bet they can be cut by 30% or something, and then your leap will tank, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why, which is why you continue to sell those transactions to take money out of the position to be able to have money to make new positions.
Okay.
Yeah, and listen, man, Ben, you're thinking about the wrong thing. You're thinking about the companies, and I'm telling you, like the gold is in the math, not the companies, right? Like, and you
Correct. But then don't you think, but I need at least 9 months of selling covered calls, making 10% to make it up 100% free money, right? And then
exactly,
within,
and so how you do that is, when say it was January and you had bought a September call, when you get to April, you now need to buy the new 9 months, right?
correct,
Because then
right.
then you can transact on that other one literally all the way to September, and then now you have a new set of cash maybe, and boom, you just start adding back to the volume again.
Oh, okay. So you don't close the lip. You keep the lip and then add more for the future expiration?
I mean, my grandfather used to be a farmer, and he bought a rototiller, and every year he would go and rototill his garden. Like,
Uh-huh.
it's your rototiller. Let it do its job. That thing is meant to cash flow you, right? The
Mm,
game is cash flow. The game is not like company A and B and C. And the reason I have big SoFi is cash flow, right? It's cheap to cash
I
flow
see.
in SoFi. I mean, Tesla is optimal for the premium game, but it's just more expensive.
Yeah, but SoFi, okay, right. But SoFi doesn't give you the premium, but it gives you the volume, right?
Exactly. Like SoFi, I'm selling like $50 call options on. It's very low. But I mean, if you sell
Mm,
100 of them, or 135 in this case, like that's a big that X number is just as important as the premium number.
I see.
I have 24 Palantir contracts that are expiring in June. And I can tell you, like, what's the cost on these? I have 24 Palantir contracts that are expiring in June. Their average cost is $1,700. And I can tell you, Ben, I personally have not paid for a single one of these.
Mm. That's nice.
They're all from premium, and their current, remember, my average cost is 1742. Their current price is 39.98. Okay. So look,
Nice.
let's go to the numbers, right? 1742 times 24, right? That's my cost. So I had 1742 times 24. This is 41,808. And I've bought these over time, Ben, right? I haven't bought these all at once.
Hmm.
I've bought these like just from premium received. I think from SoFi actually. And
Mm.
their current price is 39.98.
So your average price is 17. Okay. So you're okay.
Right? These are super in the money.
So there, so you have a big percentage on big, big percentage gain on the lips. That's nice.
Yeah, so these have a lot of intrinsic value right now because Palantir's share price, this is a $65 call option.
Okay.
This is a $65
Nice.
call option. So Palantir's current share price is at 100,
Right.
right? And I will tell you that I sold covered calls on these at $95 for June for expiration. And I
Oh,
did
so
that.
you have done it much before, right? When SOFI was below 90 or
Yeah,
something.
exactly. I received how much have I received on this?
So you do long covered calls. I thought covered calls you
You
should
could
do
do
only
anything,
always 3 weeks.
Ben. You could do anything you want.
Mm.
I got 24,000 for this. So for something that I'm into for no money, I received 24,000 in premium, and I'm selling it for a $30, right? Which is $3,000 per contract profit currently. So I mean, I like the numbers here, man.
Mm.
What's that come
So
out to?
what other, I'm just curious, what other stocks you have or LIPs other than SOFI and Palantir?
So I will have this much capital in June if nothing changes.
Mm. Nice.
And if Palantir's share price continues to fall and I can get this back earlier and I can do more transactions on it, then like even that is in my favor. So I mean, that's the whole part of, that is like the whole part of the leaps option. It's the transactions that you do when you own it. And then at expiration, if you're in the money and you're going to have intrinsic value, I mean, sell all the way to expiration, man. Like that's your money.
Mm.
That's your
So
time.
I see. So you don't advise rolling down the LIP option. Let's say I bought a LIP of $400 when Tesla was at 430. Now Tesla is 350. Should I roll down my LIP from 400 to, let's say, I don't know, 350? I think I have to pay extra, I guess.
So that's an interesting question. And we looked at this earlier, and you can go out further in time and sell against that 430. And I would consider doing one of two things, because there is still a lot of time value in that. You can certainly consider adding to the position and changing the ROI right now.
Right. No, so that we talked about it, right? Adding the stock
Yeah.
goes down, you buy more LIPs. The
It's the
question is
same
that
thing as
the LIPs.
SDR. And then the other school of thought you could also execute is you could just buy a new expiration with a lower strike. And
Mm,
now when you go to the market and you go to sell, now you just have more volume. So I mean, I think both
right.
things are permissible for sure. Yeah.
And then so is Palantir and SOFI is your crown jewel, or you have other stocks which are
Oh
doing
yeah. What
behaving
do I
well?
have? I have all the ones that are
Like
just,
Magster,
yeah. The only other one I
Mag
have,
7?
that's it for Mag 7 that I have. The only other one that I have that is kind of an outlier is INQ, which is
What is that?
a quantum computing company.
Oh, right. I see your messages. Yeah. Why
Yeah,
okay.
and
So you have Mag
again,
7, Palantir, Tesla, and then sorry, Palantir. You don't have at SOFI,
NVIDIA
and
too.
then and then INQ, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, really, because I'm not worried about the companies at all. I really don't feel like, and this is kind of going back to the Tesla comment. I just don't feel like I need another one. But if I did have another garden, it would definitely be Tesla. And it's just such an opportune price right now. Tesla's got FSD and like the Optimus robots. And I mean,
Right.
dude, just have so much stuff that's about to come into fruition for them. So
Mm.
they have like their cars require updates and they have like a subscription fee associated with it.
Yeah. They have like money coming in, but the
Sure.
EV cars are now everywhere, right? I mean, there's a lot of other South Korean EV cars. I mean, though Tesla is still big, but there is a lot of price pressure.
What's
But again, we don't have to talk about companies, but I do agree that Tesla is one of the good companies.
Yeah, I
yeah.
would 100. I mean, like I said, I would 100% buy Tesla. Elon Musk saved my life, and now he's saving the United States of America. So
Yeah.
I love that dude. I
I
I,
agree.
I
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely believe in that dude over anybody. So
No,
uh,
I agree. I mean, yeah,
he's got.
he's
I mean,
done a
come
lot
on,
of,
dude. He is like Tony Stark, right? I mean, like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
Iron
He has
Man
done a lot
right
of smart things. Yeah, yeah.
there. All right, I got to
Right.
wrap up. But do you have any other
Okay.
questions?
No, thank you. Appreciate it. And you have a good weekend. I guess
Yeah,
someone
you
else
too, man.
joined.
Awesome
Okay.
talking to you about this. I know you had a lot of questions last time, and I
But
like
I think I'm getting there. Yeah.
you, dude. I think you're definitely getting there. It's just you got to understand the game that they're playing and the game that you're playing, right? And the game
Right.
more in the numbers than it is in the companies. And
Correct. I think I have to unlearn. So it's always, I have baggages from the past. I have to unlearn things. So that's the problem getting into the way, actually.
yeah, yeah, of course, of course. That's always our problem. Just
That's it.
always be wary of spreads, please.
I
Please
know.
don't
I
bet
think
the
I lost
ponies
someone.
either.
I know that is, I'm having hard time to get out of this. But yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, cheers, then.
Okay, Jason, maybe we can wrap it up now.
Yeah,
Uh, you have a good weekend. Yeah, I
you too
think weather
now.
is going to be great at Bay Area today, this weekend.
Can't wait, man. Can't wait. Cheers. Have a good one, Ben. Bye, Carol.
Yeah.